I'd like you to all remember my neighbor Jose. He was kind of missing from our block for about a month, and yesterday I ran into him in the yard, and he said that he had been sick with a pneumonia for about 2 weeks straight, along with another 8 employees around him. He's not sure. His test was negative. He doesn't trust it, but he is on the mend, and I'm thankful for that. His name's Jose. He's not done yet.
And so it is.
Prayers, Janine, as she continues working at Walmart. She comes home so tired by the time she's done with her Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And she's holding in there okay, and we see her a lot. But just continued prayers for her protection and safety.
And so it is. For all of those mentioned and all of those not mentioned, for all of those that are on the front lines helping us, we give thanks. We see them protected in the light. We see their loving energy, our loving energy, embracing them, that they may also express their loving energy to those for whom they care. The nurses, the doctors, the maintenance workers in the healthcare system, those in the distribution channels, retail, wholesale, manufacturing, production, we hold all of those in the light. For those that are living alone, for those that are living with others, we hold each and every one, every creature on this planet, in the loving light of God. And so it is in this prayerful energy that we extend, we give thanks. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And so, let's have a little music. I'm going to mute everyone, and let's see, mute all. And Maestro, if you would. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the singing, fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's dew falls, sunlit in heaven, like the first dew falls on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung into greenness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunrise, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with So we have we're starting a new series today. The series is based on let's see, Tara.
David, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So we're starting a new series today. That new series is brought to you by Tara Brock. Tara Brock is a writer. Let me give you a bit of who she is. There she is with dog bored, yawning. She has a book, Radical Compassion. She also has a book, Radical Acceptance. But we're going to be talking about radical compassion today. There is, let's see, there is in this experience that's unfolding, we see compassion bubbling up to the surface. I'm not sure. I don't know how you've been paying attention to those compassionate stories that are showing up all over the planet. But my personal experience, when I've been out grocery shopping, which is my primary reason for going out, other than exercise up and down the street locally, I notice that there is compassion that is brewing, and I shared with you a couple of weeks ago my experience in a grocery store, having the desire to thank every grocery worker in the store. And I did thank the person in produce. I thanked one of the people stocking the shelves, and I went to the cash register, and I thanked the person who was at the cash register. And she said to me that, well, thank you, because not many people say that. And boy, people can get angry at each other. Well, there's that brewing too. And one of the things that we all experience, I think we all experience, is the tension that bubbles up. In the introduction that I posted, it's surprising that tension bubbles up as we're lounging on the couch. But I know in our household we have 7 people in the house. I know that tensions can flare from time to time just because we're here. We're here, and it's close. But in the context of our experience, our opportunity to experience compassion, there's a story that Brock shares in the beginning of her book about the Golden Buddha. In the mid-50s, there was a highway that was being built in Bangkok, and the highway had a temple in the way. So the temple was evacuated, and in the temple was a large clay statue of the Buddha. And so they had to move the Buddha, and so they got a crane in, and they were lifting the Buddha with straps. And as they were lifting the Buddha, they noticed that it was starting to crack. So they set it down. They were concerned that this thing was just going to come apart, of course, and so they set it down. And that trying to figure out, well, what do we do now? I mean, how do we get this out of here? Well, that night, one of the monks was concerned about it, took a flashlight down and inspected the cracks, and as he put the light into one of the cracks, he noticed that there was a reflection coming back, and that reflection was mystifying. So he ran and got the other monks that were involved in moving the Buddha, and they all came down and they looked at it, and sure enough, there was something in there that was reflecting the light back. So they took some hammers and chisels and they opened up the crack a little bit, and what they found inside the crack was, oh, there is, that's metal in there. And so they opened it up more, and they saw that it was actually gold. It wasn't just metal, it was gold. So they opened the crack further, and sure enough, the Buddha that was encased in this clay covering was made of gold. It was a solid gold Buddha. And historians speculated that in centuries past there was the incursion of a foreign army, and so they figured that what happened was that the monks in the monastery decided to cover the golden Buddha with clay because they didn't want the army to pillage their golden Buddha. And it turns out the monks were all killed, but the Buddha remained intact with its clay covering. Interesting story, because in the stresses of moving the Buddha, cracks appear. And in the stresses that we encounter in our day-to-day lives, cracks appear. The question is, what's underneath? Do we allow the stresses of our day-to-day to thwart our ability to express that Christ light that is within us? Or do we allow that light to shine? And I know from my personal experience that it is often difficult to let my light shine. And so as we encounter the stresses of life, allowing our light to shine is really our practice. That is that is our spiritual gymnasium. It's in the stresses that are not comfortable, in the stresses that are offer anxiety, fear, offer opportunities for us to lash out or lash back at at our stimuli that we encounter in our lives. Allows us the opportunity to practice revealing that golden Buddha that is inside, rather than the darkness that we are seeing all around us, or at least that we are experiencing. So Tara Brach offered us this experience. Yeah, let me pull up. There it is. I know I can. So Tara Brach offered us this experience, this map in her book. I know it's there. I know it's there. There it is. Sharing the wrong screen. In her book, she offers us this recipe. She calls it the rain recipe. And she admits this is not her own, but she is elaborating upon it in her book. The rain recipe is the steps of recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing. The recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing is an inner process. It is a process that allows us to take a breath. She shares this quote from Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And the recognition process is one of feeling what you're feeling but also feeling where you're feeling it. It's about coming into the interior experience and recognizing what your interior experience is. Is there, if it's a stressful thing, if there is fear, or if there is conflict going on in your life, recognizing how you are feeling inside. Is there a clenching of the jaw, or is there a tightening of the stomach, or is your whole body going into spasms? Is your your shoulders tightening up, right? Coming up to your ears. What is that interior experience? And in that interior experience is a key to how you are about to respond. So in this time of in this space between the stimulus and response, recognizing what's going on inside. And then she offers us allowing. And there is a quote that I'm sure you have all heard about. This is from Rumi. A Great Wagon was the poem. But this passage is, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. So this process of allowing, once we recognize what's going on in the interior, the process of allowing is to give ourselves permission to let it be. There's a Beatles song. I won't try to sing it, but there's a Beatles song. Let it be. Mother Mary, let it be. Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Boy, that's something that I need to practice. And this, if I could just have this on a card sitting in front of me, or emblazing it on the interior of my frontal cortex, that would be very useful. So I remind you, and I am reminding myself, that we have the opportunity to not respond to something going on out there, that we have the opportunity to just let it be. And letting it be is great. There's great power in letting it be. We don't have to correct someone's incorrect opinion. We don't have to right some wrong in this moment. Let us just allow that to be for a moment. And then the investigating with genuine curiosity. What's going on internally in my experience? What's the most painful thing that I'm believing right now? Where in my body am I feeling my discomfort? Are these feelings familiar? Is something that I've experienced earlier in my life? And if the most vulnerable, hurting part of me could tell me something, what would that message be? And what does this part of me most need right now? So this investigating is not about logically solving the problem, which I am prone to do, but it's about looking at the interior experience and seeing what is going on, seeing where my pain is, seeing what my beliefs and assumptions are, seeing where I am uncomfortable in my body. And then treating that interior experience as an entity. It may be a younger self, or it may be some part of me that I could personify. But letting that interior experience be something with whom I can communicate. And then she offers the nurturing with loving presence. Giving what you've noticed in your investigation. What's your natural response? What's the most wise and compassionate response you could offer to your younger self? How would you express discomfort to a beloved friend? Are you willing to express that comfort to yourself? Too often we are so self-critical that we forget that we have a wonderful opportunity to be a nurturing friend to ourselves. If you could, offer that this personification is a younger you, and remember from transactional analysis, when stress arises, we often respond to that external stimulus from a set of tapes that were laid down for us in our younger years. So if you can imagine this younger you, what would you tell this? Exploring different ways to nurture yourself, maybe the hand over the heart, or maybe an embrace, self-embrace, maybe a gentle verbal encouragement. You can do this. You can get through this. This is not going to kill you. This is something that you can overcome. Give yourself a verbal encouragement, and give yourself the comfort that you would a beloved friend. So this idea that we have an opportunity to treat ourselves with compassion, to treat ourselves with the awareness that there is nothing that is so important about the situation in which we find ourselves that is not something that could be gently overcome. So, this process of recognizing and allowing, investigating, and nurturing. How does this feel to you? What does this model, this recipe, feel like for you? Is it something that you can accomplish? Is it something that you get your hands around, or is it something that you still have questions about? Let's hear about it. Remember to unmute yourself when you are wanting to speak. Oh, I know you have some things to say about it. Let's hear.
David, repeat the question.
I said, how does this model of responsiveness feel to you? Is this something that you can relate to, or is this something that seems woo-woo, unreasonable, impractical?
I can speak to that a little bit. This may not be exactly what you're wanting, but I've been struggling with lower back issues for a long time right now. And it's gotten a lot worse the last couple of months. I've also had a real struggle with one of my kids, and my son and his wife haven't spoken to us since Christmas. And I'm carrying all that in my back. I know I am carrying the weight of it. Mm-hmm. And it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. And, my outer self doesn't show this. It's just in, but my body sure shows it. So that's all.
So could we explore that just a little bit, Sandy?
Sure.
Can we talk about that just a little bit? So you're recognizing that this tension that you're having with that your son and spouse is something that is causing tension within your body, and so the recognizing is good. Okay, step one. So are you willing to allow this? And I speak of this as a general question. I'm not asking specifically for a response from you unless you choose. That's fine. But are you willing to allow this to be as it is without having to correct it? Is it something that you can gently allow to happen or to be?
Well, as far as the forgiveness goes, I've been working on that. And I've done all I can, and I know there's nothing more I can do. I've reached out several times. And so I have to back off. As far as why it's in my back, it's just an unsolved issue, I guess. We love our children, and it hurts,
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want it to hurt.
Right.
So I've been putting him in my prayers and me, as far as trying to release it all. But I guess I'm not releasing it very well.
Well, are you, as you are investigating this, what beliefs are you holding that are causing the tension? Is it the belief that your son should love you back, or is it the belief that you're not worthy of being loved back? What are the underlying beliefs that are related to this?
No, it's not that. It's just, I think, just the unwillingness for him to let go of the past. And there's nothing I can do about that. So I just have to let it go. And that is difficult. It is. And, that's about all I can say about it right now.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Well, and I appreciate your being vulnerable and sharing that with us, because that can be very difficult. When as a parent, I can relate very much to that scenario where there's something that is occurring that you just don't have control to correct, but at the same time you desperately want that to be corrected. And so, are you able then to give yourself the nurturing to? It's more about forgiving yourself in this rain recipe. It's about forgiving yourself that you are willing to nurture yourself, to love yourself, to speak to yourself in a loving manner.
So it's like raining goodwill upon yourself, raining upon yourself all good. Like you could kind of relate it.
Oh, yeah.
Loving yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look in the mirror and say, thank you. I am what I am. Thank you.
Yeah. If you have a beloved friend that has come to you and has expressed this condition, this circumstance to you, what would you say to that beloved friend? How would you express your loving support of that friend? And that's an open-ended question. Again, you don't have to respond unless you choose. But that's the point. Go ahead.
There is a Hawaiian prayer that we use in our practice when we're doing some different training. But it goes like this: you first get it, you relax and get in touch with your body, and to create that space, you do it through breathing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in order to create a space, you have to do it through your breathing, and the prayer goes like this: I'm sorry. And you close your eyes and you just keep saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And you just keep saying that, I'm sorry, until you start feeling it in your body. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And you can go on for a while and until you start feeling it. And it's not necessarily for anybody else. It's for yourself. It's for yourself. And then it's, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And you say that over and over, please forgive me. And you can change it. You can really feel it. You can bring tears to your eyes. You can, please forgive me. You can plead out. You can express yourself. And then, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until you start feeling it in your whole body. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then the last thing you say is, I love you. I love you. I love you. And you can hold yourself, stroke yourself, hold yourself, whatever. But it's, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. And you can go through that process and you can do it on a daily basis, but it helps you work through and feel more deeper it for yourself and for others. And so you can try that along with the breathing. Breathing creates that space. And you're talking about, certain physical physical ailments. It is, according to Asian philosophy, when you have like a backache, it can be associated with an organ, like your large intestine. Your large intestine. It's connected to the lung, and the lung and the large intestine can hold emotions of sadness. The liver and the gallbladder can hold their emotions of anger, and it can flare up in different spots. That could be what's happening with the back issues. So I just thought I'd share that, and then also the getting out into, you're talking about what is it? The allowing. I think it was allowing, and it's getting out. You know that poem by Rami, getting out. He talks about the nature. He's talking about trees and the flowers, and so that's part of that allowing and being out in that, and also I wanted to say something about the root of your feeling. The root of your feeling can come from getting in touch with your soul, from taking that time, doing that Hawaiian prayer, or taking time to get in touch with your soul, can help you to get to the root of what's really causing those outward expressions of behavior, to understand what's causing it, because there's something that came, from the parents or the environment.
Thank you, Doreen. I would like to move on from this to somebody else, okay? But I appreciate your thoughts, and I will do that little prayer. That's very good.
That Hawaiian prayer is called Ho'oponopono, and it is a powerful practice.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, something I have been experiencing this week, I think, may apply to it, because I noticed, when we changed our way of life and started staying inside, initially it felt like I was in a waiting room. I was sitting on the couch, I was reading, and there was more of a sense of waiting for my life to continue. And just recently, I have felt the shift back to living my life, just get back to living my life. And yes, it looks differently. I'm not going to be out running around with people the way I used to. But if I'm remembering the steps, it's recognizing it and investigating what's going on, and just allowing myself to accept that this is my new life. At least for now, it's my present life. Let's put it that way. And to nurture myself in the circumstances I find myself in.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just discovered how to unmute myself. This is Glenn. Hello, everybody. I seem to be the owner of everyone, but even if I am, I allow you free will. And that's it for now.
Okay. Anyone else? This recipe of rain is something that we apply to ourselves, for ourselves, in that space between stimulus and response. And it can go very quickly. It's something that when you're in the habit of doing it, it may only take a few seconds for you just to do a self-assessment. And so over the course of the next several weeks, we're going to be exploring this more deeply. And Tara Brock's book, Radical Compassion, is what we're using. So with this in mind, let's find a comfortable position. And I'm going to mute everyone. So we can, yeah, there it is. And Doug, if you would. As we allow ourselves to enter into this sacred space that we can occupy at any time, we settle into that seat of the soul, that place before the altar of God, that center of consciousness. And let us begin with just paying attention to our body. How does it feel? Where is the tension? Recognizing that we are all attached. We individually are attached to our toes, to our hair, to our fingernails. Feel the completeness of that connection. Feel the toes connected to the instep, to the heel, the ankle, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the buttocks, into the lower back and abdomen, into the torso, the shoulders, down the arms to the fingers, up the neck to the scalp, yes, even to the tips of the hair. Feel yourself as a complete, relaxed being, manifesting as a body, but expressing throughout all of your consciousness. Allow yourself to settle into that relaxed beingness. And bring to mind some experience of your past that has caused you conflict. And go back to that experience and feel how it felt. You don't need to play it out. It's not necessary to rerun the movie, but just take a snapshot of how that circumstance felt. What was it like? Where in your body was the tension? And of course, this is a past experience. But in that past experience, it was likely that you wanted to correct something. In this exercise, just allow it to be as it is. Set yourself free of the binding to that circumstance, of your attachment to that circumstance. Allow yourself to just allow it to be as it is, as it was. And then feel how it feels. What were your beliefs? What were your assumptions? What were the immediate responses that you were likely to make? What was your expectation of the outcome? Not what it turned out to be, but what were your expectations? Were you holding assumptions that were unreasonable, invalid? Or perhaps they were assumptions that were quite reasonable, but no one else in the circumstance had those assumptions. Were your beliefs about that circumstance something that you have held for a long time, applied in other circumstances? And are you recognizing that there was within you an experience that was unfolding, not that current one, but another experience unfolding that you were responding to? Someone had said something similar to you sometime in the past, or when you were growing up, you had encountered a similar situation and your parents had responded in a way that was not nurturing. Now, in that circumstance that we're playing through, are you willing to nurture yourself? Are you willing to treat yourself as someone that needs support, someone who needs encouragement, someone who needs an affirmation of their worth, your worth as a younger? And if you encountered this in a beloved friend, what would you say to the beloved friend? How would you support the beloved friend? This is not about counseling to correct, but rather to nurture, to affirm, to give joy to that entity experiencing this discomfort. Loving words, an embrace, a pat on the back. Recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing. These are things that we can do whenever we are experiencing an uncomfortable situation, whether it be with someone else or it be within our own psyche. Breathing in and breathing out. This exercise can be repeated for the same circumstance, or it can be repeated for different circumstances in the past. But getting in the practice of recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing is something that we can do on an ongoing basis, day to day. Keeping in touch with that interior experience. Feeling how you are feeling in that space between the stimulus and the response will allow you to build a toolkit of compassion that you can use in responding to others. And indeed, we need it now. We need each of us as spiritual warriors to be practicing this compassionate expression. And I'm talking to myself here as well. We all have the opportunity to improve. So as we come back to this time and space, I'd like to share with you our offering blessing. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. Do you really trust in that underlying vibration that we call God? Do you in fact trust in that common collective consciousness of which we are all a part, to which we are all connected? That loving presence, the divine power, the divine energy coursing through us. And so we conclude with let there be peace. Doug? And hang on just a second, Doug. Let me, oh, did you unmute yourself? Excellent, thank you. Okay. Doug?
Peace on earth, peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all.
Thank you all. Have a wonder-filled. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a wonder-filled day. Oh, I'm still
Did that
muted.
work at all?
There we go. There
Yes.
it is. Thank you all. Have a wonder-filled day. We're still open for community. So.
The song
Okay.
worked really well.
Okay, if you would,
Please stay
Kendall.
muted.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
I think we're getting there.
Okay, shall I extinguish the
Go
flame?
ahead.
Please.
Okay, as we prepare to release our circle and extinguish this flame, we honor the divine light it represents, and we carry it with us into the world to protect us, to illuminate us, and to guide our action.